sacred beings, and welcome to The Sacred Jewel. My name is Jewel, and this is a spiritual community growing together while on our sacred journeys. Today we are talking all about symbols. I'm going to be sharing with you 15 symbols that I find are more popular, ones that I think are interesting, ones that maybe you see throughout your day-to-day life, might not know what they are, or you do know what they are, and you'll learn maybe some extra facts about them. There's my dog, Indica. Oh, and now she leaves. So at least you saw her for a little bit. If you're new here, my name is Jewel, and I travel in an RV full-time with my dog and boyfriend. And we're currently in Washington and moving to Montana in 23 days. I'm super excited. So if you like talking about spirituality, consciousness, really anything about the spiritual world, then please subscribe and say hello in the comments if you're new here. I would love to say hello to you as well. So let's get started with the 1 out of 15 symbols. I'll be using this space here to show you what they are. But here we go, the Om, which I have a little tattoo of the Om. The Om comes from Hinduism and is said to be the sound of the universe. It represents unification of the mind, body, and spirit, and you can use it while you're meditating. This picture here shows what the little parts of the Om represent. So let's start with the top of the little 3 is the latent unconsciousness, so deep sleep state, a deep state of peace. The lower part of the 3 is the waking state, so day-to-day view of the external world. And then the little loop that comes out of the center of the 3 is active unconsciousness, so the dream state. And then above it, the little loop is the veil, the state of illusion in which duality begins and resides. And then above that, the absolute, the self, that little square, the transcendental source of our consciousness as a collective whole. So I will talk more about the tattoo, but the way to say Om, which hopefully I say it right, I used to go to yoga and like meditate a lot, which I need to start meditating more. That's definitely what I'm going to be doing pretty soon, is meditating more, because I've had a lot of experiences while meditating that was super cool. So you want to pronounce the Om like A-U-M. It'll be like O, and then ma or ma. So all together, please cover your ears if you don't like the sound of out of tunement, if that's a word. But it would be like Om, Aum. And you keep saying that while you're meditating out loud or in your mind, and you will feel like it go throughout your whole entire body. It's super magical. So let's continue on to the lotus flower, which you've probably seen this symbol before. It's a Hindu symbol, and it represents the womb of the universe in which all things are born. So as you probably know, lotuses grow. Hold on, here's my dog admiring my flowers for spring that I hung up for you guys. So the lotus, as you know, grows out of muddy, murky water. And then you can also use this lotus pose in yoga, which looks like this. But I'm going to show you more of the lotus flower and kind of tie in the Om lotus flower and this next symbol, number 3, which is a Unalome. An Unalome, which I have a tattoo on my other wrist. Unalome with the lotus flower. So you'll see where I'm going with these 3 symbols. So in Buddhism, it represents the path to enlightenment. And the Unalome was originally a Hindu symbol, which, recalls Siva, like Shiva, Siva. I looked up on YouTube how to say it. So Siva, third eye, which represents wisdom and the path to perfection. So Siva is a deity, that's how you say it. We'll talk more about him, or that deity. Not deity, when we talk about goddesses and deities. But I really like the Unalome. This picture is very blurry, but I chose this picture because it represents why I got the tattoo the most. So let's start at the bottom, the spiral, which is a symbol in itself. So it's a vicious cycle, an endless cycle of birth and death. And you repeat of the same karma in the form of a new life. So it's saying every life you're born is like another vicious cycle until you learn like your karma. And then after you're born, you go into this spiral growth where you're learning processes by making mistakes and poor choices and resets and twist backs. And then eventually you get to a straight line, which is the awakening process, getting perspective after all the lessons that you've learned through all that trial and tribulation. And then eventually you bloom as a lotus, achieving enlightenment. And from there you become the dot, which is the union with source. So when I got it, I was more focused on every single day. Like when you wake up, you go through the spiral, and every day you go through choices to like decide you want to get on that spiritual path to enlightenment, and eventually you could bloom every single day and become one with source, or not, and you start over the next day. And it's literally an endless cycle for eternity to reach this state, which I will talk about. I did reach it for a very short period of time. We'll talk about that in my awakening video, which I am waiting for the moment to share that. I'm sure I will get a sign pretty soon when it's time. But I wanted to incorporate the lotus flower in there because throughout all of this, like pain or trials and tribulations, like I said, you bloom out of that dark place into a beautiful flower, just like the lotus blooms out of muddy water. So I thought that was super cool. So those are the first three. Let's move on to number 4 is the Hamsa. Hamsa. So this has a number of traditions related with the palm, and I have here to show you. It's also a sign of protection. So I made this cute little wand, and I had the little Hamsa at the bottom. Can you see it? Which I didn't really know what it meant. I knew it was like, I thought it had to do with Buddhism and spirituality, but I didn't know that it's actually a sign of protection as well. So that was pretty cool. You might see that a lot. I used to color in those all the time. So maybe I was like unconsciously protecting myself from evil while I was drawing these and coloring these in. So let's move on to the next one. Number 5, the evil eye. You've probably seen this everywhere. And as you know, it's a sign of protection. So they say someone is putting too much emphasis on you or paying too much attention to you or like talking about you. You would want to use this eye to like protect yourself or put it out there as a reflection where they can focus on themselves and not about you. It repels all negative energy and ward off any and all ill will. So that one you probably know. Let's move on to this one, which I was super excited to learn about. It's the Eye of Ra, or the Eye of Horus. And I will tell you a story. So I have him. I have this little guy. I remember I went to a metaphysical store and they were giving away free charms. Like they had a whole basket of charms with every purchase. So I chose this guy and I had no idea what it represented. So I was super excited to read about this and share it. So it's a protection from evil. It's an ancient Egypt religion. It has healing powers. And the left eye is the moon, which is Ra, Eye of Ra, which is not the one I have. So in the photo, the Eye of Ra, it's the left eye represents the moon. So the right eye is the Eye of Horus, which represents the sun. And then I thought it was cool that each part of the eye, just like the Om, has its own like meaning. And this one, they say it represents the unity of like feeling whole, complete. So you feel whole and complete if you have all of your senses. So it's pretty cool that each part of it, like this photo, represents one of your senses. So smell, sight, thought, hearing, taste, and touch, which I thought that was pretty cool. I did not know that. So let's move on. This one, you know what it is. Yin and Yang. Yin and Yang. It's an ancient symbol of harmony and balance. So I thought it was pretty cool. This right here. So representing the good and the bad. So like the black part is the bad, the white part is the good, and then there's a little bit of bad in the good, and there's a little bit of good in the bad, and that represents life. Because it's never all good or all bad. There's always a balance of good and evil, male and female, masculine and feminine. So the next symbol are the same symbol but more information. So Yang, the white part, is the male. More masculine energy represents being active, the light, dominating, strong, movement, hot, and expanding. While the Yin is the female energy, feminine energy, which is passive, intuitive, creative, dark, stillness, cold, contracting, or more of the moon. And then the white Yang is more of the sun. And then, the outer circle represents the universe of everything in it. And the little smaller one represents everything carries the seed of its opposites. So yin and yang is pretty cool. I like that symbol a lot, and I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. So let's move on to the next one, more into the witchcraft and more religious symbols. Let's start with the pentacle. So the little pentacle guy, oh, cute. I love this symbol, this picture with the purple flowers. I just thought it was beautiful, but normally it's just like a basic circle. Basic circle with a star in the middle. So a pentacle, not to be confused with the pentagram, which is the next one. The pentacle represents the harmony and balance between all the elements. So earth, fire, water, air, and spirit. When they work in unity, it's like they create like the perfect, powerful balance of unity when they all work together, all the elements. It's a protective symbol. The circle represents femininity, feminine energy, and then the unity of all life. And it's very powerful if you use them in spells or like protection. I know when we get more into witchcraft and spells, which I have a great video that I'm doing next probably. I don't know. I haven't talked about this, but it's just a fun idea that I thought of. I hope you guys like it, but it's probably going to be later on having to do with witchcraft. So let's move on to the pentagram. So this is one of the oldest symbolized, oldest symbol used by humans. And it's supposed to avert evil. In ancient Greek, it was the symbol of perfection because they say the star, it's like an endless star. Like you don't know where the lines start or end. It's like perfect. So in Greek, it's a symbol of perfection. When turned, so you can turn it to look like a goat head, like more Satanism. It's said when you turn it that way, it can invoke the power of like evil, like gods, goddess, deities. And you could work with that like dark magic if you want by turning it. I never worked with a pentagram. I'm all about the good vibes. I would never, because they say you put the dark magic out there, it comes back to you like triple magnitude. So no thanks. So I thought that was pretty cool to just show the differences between pentacle and pentagram. But people call it like satanic because it looks like a head of a goat and they use it in Satanism. But I've seen a lot of videos where satanic people are really not even that evil. So I forget the guy who did an interview with them. He's super popular on Instagram, YouTube, and I forget his name, but he interviews like all these people. All right, let's move on to number 10, which is the Ankh. Is that how you say it? Ankh. Ankh. It's an ancient Egyptian symbol of eternal life, or the key of life, the key to life. It is also used as protection, and you can trace the symbol into the air to induce a sacred space or ward off against evil. And they also say this symbol, one of the theories is that the loop part of it is a rising sun. The straight across bar is feminine energy. The straight up bar is the male energy, or masculine energy, and together they form fertility, power, balance, and life. So I've seen this symbol before, but I've never really known what it represents. But I would like to probably get one of those to hang. I know a lot of people hang them like in the entrance to your door and stuff for protection and to ward off evil. The next one, number 11, is the Celtic shield knot, which looks super cool. So this is also really good at warding off or protecting yourself from evil or to ward away negative energy. In some traditions, the corner knots represent the 4 elements. So you can see it's separated into like 4 different areas. So earth, fire, water, and air. But it's important to note that in the Celtic spirituality or Celtic spirituality, they usually just focus on the 3 realms of earth, sea, and sky. But still, you can use it however you want. I'm more eclectic, so I just take things that I like from like a bunch of different spiritual areas to put it all together with what best suits me and my lifestyle at that time. So let's move on. Do you know what this is? This wheel? It's called, and I'm going to go over some pronunciation with you guys. So Hecate's wheel. Let's talk about her name first. So there's a couple ways to say it, and I'm going to shout out to YouTube, Raven Ways on YouTube. I used you to find out the different ways to pronounce her name, because when we talk about deities, I will tell you, I was thinking about working with this goddess or deity, but I always felt bad because I never knew how to pronounce her name right. But we'll talk more about her when we get to that video. But in Greek, they say to pronounce it like Hekate, Hekate. So like Hekate, 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 Hekate in Greek. And then in Shakespearean, it's Hecate. So the Hecate wheel. But then the angle size is Hecate. And a lot of people say like Hekate, but I think it's Hecate. I really like the first one, Hekate, Hekate. I don't know, that one just sounds right. So anyways, her wheel is used by some traditions of Wicca, and it represents the 3 aspects of the goddess. So maiden, mother, and crone. And then it has origin in Greek legend, where Hecate was known as a guardian of the crossroads. So power of knowledge and life. So it looks like a maze in there, and they said like she works with snakes, like, you know, moving through this maze throughout all these crossroads of left and right. Like when you don't know what to do in life and you're stuck between 2 decisions, you can like call upon her to help you with that. That's what I was learning when I was first starting to research deities. So we'll get into that more. Let's move on to number 3, the triple moon, which you've probably seen if you are into witchcraft, which I think is a beautiful symbol. And I really like this artwork that I found on Google Images. So it's sometimes called the triple goddess, representing the phase of the moon. So waxing, full, and waning, or the 3 phases of womanhood. So the maiden, mother, and crone, which I thought was very nice. And the waxing part, when you're the maiden, it represents new beginnings, new life, while the fool, the mother, is magic in the most potent form. And then waning, when you're a crone, it's time to banish. It's more about banishing magic, sending things away. So I've done a video on the new moon, which I loved, rituals on the new moon. I'll post that above, like what you can do to like let go of things that no longer serve you. So let's move on to number 14. We're almost at the end of this video. Is the horned god, mainly used in Wicca or paganism, represents a masculine energy of the god. So the previous triple moon represents the goddess, and then this would represent the god, masculine energy, used to invoke the god during ritual or in fertility workings. So when I was starting up my altar, you want to represent, well, you can do whatever you want on your altar, but I thought it was cool to represent the god in one. You can have the symbol or carve it on a candle, and then have the goddess on the other side and carve the goddess symbol on the other one to represent both of them. So that was pretty cool. And lastly is the sun wheel or ether wheel, spirit wheel, the calendar wheel. So this represents the wheel of the year and the 8 Wiccan or pagan Sabbats or holidays. So to represent all the solstices and equinoxes. So the 8 of them, you would use this as your normal calendar instead of, you know, the 12 months that we have in the normal calendar, and Christmas and Halloween and Easter and all that. You would use this one, which I want to start dedicating, you know, focusing on this calendar more than the one that we're told to follow. So the 8 holidays, I'm going to say most of these wrong. We have Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Litha or Midsummer, Lughnasadh. I know, this is embarrassing. Mabon and Samhain. I said them all wrong. I know. I give up. But yeah, this would represent your wheel of the year. So thank you for watching this video, guys, of the symbols. I know I did not cover even close to all of them. I only picked out a few of them. Per request, I was going to do a symbols one. So please comment below ones that I've missed or if you found this helpful. The next video we're doing is sigils. So stay tuned to that. It's either going to be sigils or the one that I'm super excited as a surprise video to do that I haven't even mentioned on this channel. So sigils or surprise video coming next, but those are the next two. So thanks for watching. You guys are amazing. See you next time. Have a great day. Bye.